All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mostly gentlemen, welcome back to This Week in Base Hit. I am your host, Zubaz. That is my co-host, Citizen Clone. Clone, how was your week?
Checking my hair. It was all right, man. We're
You're
discussing
really
whether the internet's
you're
choppy.
yeah, sorry. See, the internet's already doing it because I just talked over you. Our internet's a little choppy today. We don't know if it's on his end, my end. I don't know, but I apologize in advance.
I hear you the full way, but then you have a pause. So if this is so bad that we can't put it out, then nobody will know about it. And if it's acceptably bad that we put it out, then I hope everybody enjoys the ridiculousness. But we'll
Well,
find out one way or the other. Hey, look at that cool hat you have on.
that's a perfect segue into the Montreal Expos. Like they were perfectly kind of okay. Yeah. So
Uh, this is a great hat.
I just this is an old school trawler hat, old school Expos trawler hat. So uh, I realize that we've never talked about the Expos on this show, so I thought we'd talk about the Expos for just a minute.
That sounds good. I hear you the whole time, even if you pause.
Yeah, you're pausing. I'm not. I look great. You're pausing. I don't know what's going
Okay.
on. It.
As long as I'm the one that looks like a mess when this is over, it'll be all right.
Well,
Uh,
when we look back at the
tell me about the Expos. The only team that the only, uh, the only major league game that my wife has attended in real life was the Expos game in Montreal. Anyway, I'm just gonna go
really.
on. Yep. Expos Dodgers back in the day. Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. So, um, that's Juan Soto. Could have been because he was a national, would have been an expo probably. Um, but that's like that when the Nationals do their throwback jerseys, they wear Expos jerseys, obviously.
Oh, I
Uh,
did not know that. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. So, but what could have been the most famous expo of all time, right there, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's 1995 Expos card when he was a catcher. But he
I don't understand
decided
what
to
that is.
play football. No, he was in he was
Is
in the
he
Expos
actually?
organization. Yeah, he never played pro
That
ball.
doesn't look. That looks like when he was older, though.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you serious? Is
this
that
is
real? You're making up
this
some
is a
stuff.
fake card. Yeah, yeah, he never made it to the major leagues. But he was drafted by the Expos in like
Huh.
95, I think. Um,
That's pretty cool.
yep. Okay, so
I remember the
so
Expos were having their best season, and it was going to be the one
yes.
when the strike happened. But they were finally ready to break through.
The only time that very good memory that the only time that they led Major League Baseball in record late in a season was the strike shortened 94 season, which is so terrible for them. And
It's
the
terrible.
other thing I was thinking about when I was like getting ready for the podcast was like, can you? I could only name one Montreal Expo that's known for being an expo. Like all their other great players are known for being like other teams.
But yeah,
So, well, I was going to ask you if you knew them because I already looked into it. I know who they are. Like who are the
I have
greatest expos of all time?
two. I have two in my head. Well, Tim Raines would be one.
Tim Raines is the one I remember as an expo.
Tim Wallach was the other one I was
Tim
thinking of.
Wallach, yeah, if you consider him a great, yeah, he played for the Expos for 12 years. Yep.
Um, was Guerrero up there?
Yeah, Vlad Guerrero. Vlad Guerrero. I
Uh,
remember him as
I
an
know more than I
angel.
thought I would. Hmm?
Like I remember him as an angel, but he had like 8 All-Star appearances, 4 of them for the Expos, 4 of them for the Angels, but he won his MVP for the Angels, so that I think that's why I remember him as an angel. Also the
Yeah, they
years.
were good. They were
Yeah.
good before they left, and they were like the small market team. They were what the A's were trying to do later, and that was why I do really remember the strike season being painful because they had been trying to break through. They were finally breaking through, and then because we didn't want a Canadian team to win the World Series, we just said, let's just
Let's
stop right
just
here.
let's just ruin baseball so the Canadians
Yep.
can't win. Uh,
Uh,
so who ranks as the best player to play in Montreal of all time was Gary Carter. But everybody remembers him as a Met, but he played a
Yeah.
long time as, and then Andre Dawson, who I remember as a Cub, but he
Yeah.
played a lot
Yeah.
of
Oh my
years
God, I
as an
forgot all
Expo.
these. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then who's the other one I was looking at? Well, I remember Marquise Grissom as a Brewer, but that's just because I'm a Brewer fan, but he was obviously a great Expo. Um,
Yeah.
their greatest pitcher of all time, I don't remember. Maybe it was a little before my time. Steve Rogers from 73 to 85.
Captain America, Steve
Yeah.
Rogers.
But then
Uh,
Larry Walker, uh,
yeah.
he was obviously a Colorado Rocky. And then maybe the best pure player, but he only played there a couple seasons with Pedro Martinez, right? Pedro
Well, that
Martinez,
was
3 years.
as a Dodger fan and having collecting cards back then and getting all excited about the Ramon Martinez cards and then a few Pedro Martinez cards, and then they traded him away, and it was
Yeah.
just a garbage
Oh,
trade.
speaking of Martinez, Denny Martinez was also Expo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
So there you go. That's the hapless
what's the hand
Expos.
signal on Zoom that makes a maple leaf show up? Do you have?
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna make our Canadians mad. I was gonna
What
do.
made you think of this? Just that you had a nice hat, or did something happen? Oh, did they just wear those? No, they didn't wear. It's
No,
all
no, no. I was just thinking about the Expos. I don't remember. So it got brought up in one of the telecasts for some reason. So I was like, I never think about or you know what it is about the Expos? Is I think a lot of baseball fans romanticize the Expos now. They romanticize the logo. But
what
if
we're
you
doing.
really think back to when the Expos were playing, they were like, eh,
Well, that was back in.
eh.
I mean, that was also back in the day when you had to win the. I guess it might have changed, but you had to win the division, so there weren't that many teams. If you weren't at the top, like you were done by when? You were definitely done by
To
August. Most
August,
of the
yeah,
teams. Yeah,
August.
it's
Yep,
very different now. So,
yep.
uh,
So there
all
you
right,
go.
that was cool. That's a really good hat. That makes me want to have an Expos hat.
It's a good
Uh,
logo. It is a good logo.
People
So
might notice that the lighting is different in here because we're doing this at a different time of day.
different time of day. Actually, that we should do it at this time of day all the time because the lighting, you don't look like a ghost at all. You look like a silver fox. You got the whole thing going on, and the light isn't just like making it look like heaven is calling you.
Feel a little more tired, but no,
Mm.
we could talk about it. I think we were yeah, there was a chance we weren't going to do this, but we have a big release coming up, and I wanted us to talk about it. So,
A lot of things in the release. Maybe you should just. Well, how do you want to present it? You're just going to break it
uh,
down?
I'm going to bring it up on my. So we talked about some of them last week, and for it might have gotten buried, and people might not know, but I thought we could go back over some of it.
Yep.
I'm just going to blaze through it because there's a lot. Um, we did not expect this to be a big release, and then just kept growing and growing. So the big one that I had written about was we have our first new manager setting in forever, which to recap,
Maybe 10 years. No, maybe even longer than 10 years. 12 years, something like that.
they added the 4-man, 5-man rotation one, but yeah. So we added a new we added two new controls in the manager settings, and that's related to relievers. So longtime players will know that uh, there's lots of frustrations with when your middle reliever one, middle reliever two get picked, and sometimes inexplicable because one guy seems better than the other, and nobody really knew what was involved in that. And we decided to strip that away and simplify it. So now it's just going to be a probability roll pretty much. So in situations where both middle relievers are available to probability roll based on what you set that setting at. So you can set it maximum, you can set it to 70-30. Um, and yeah, I think that'll be good. I mean, puts it in your hands. It's easier to understand. It gets rid of some of the like there was value judgments made before, which we could all argue whether they were good value judgments. You can make the value judgment yourself when you're setting the setting. There was handedness judgments, which was always kind of weird because it only would pick the next guy that was up, and you could have one
Didn't make
lefty.
much sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now it's
It
just
was
a
a very
probability model.
complicated solution for what I think this fixes with a very elegant and simple answer is that, it's 70-30. You can or it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, wherever you want to go in between those. Um, and it gives the players some control over prioritizing their best pitcher. I think this is a good time to also say at the end of the year, it's not going to be exactly 70-30 because both pitchers will probably pitch in a bunch of those games together. So consider that. And then also, what if one of them is fatigued? The other one will start. So it's not going to work out exactly 70-30, but in a perfect world where they're both
Yep.
rested and neither had come in, it is going to do a 70-30 roll. And that puts
And it's still
more.
dice rolls, so you could
Yeah,
get lucky or not lucky. But we were doing testing, and a lot of the times the 70% translates to maybe 65% if you're looking at appearances. And the initial thing was like, oh, is there something messed up? And then we looked into it, and it was because of it's because of games where both of them got picked. But any situation where it was making a decision between both of the guys and who to pitch first. 70-30 or 50-50 or 60-40, whatever.
I
Uh,
think I think it's great because you still have to have the other guy pitch. We're not going to put a guy in a box, so that everybody should pitch. But the like I said last week, I think it's good. Everybody understands what the long reliever role is. Everybody understands what the closer role is. You even have a control for using the closer or not. And now it gives a control for these middle reliever setup guys. I think, while it's not ever like we could get infinitely complicated and never reach a perfect solution, I think the simplicity of this adds, a lot to the bullpen logic that was lacking previously.
and part of it was a black box, and there's a bunch of other stuff in this release that are trying to clean up the black box. One of those that's related when you're setting your setting, we talked about last week, SeaFat is shown, seasonal fatigue is shown on the pages. We did not change any rules around it, but Uh, just to reiterate, if depending on the proportion of the game so far in the year that your player has played in, you can have seasonal fatigue that'll add up that makes their maximum EN lower than it normally would be. And it used to show, we took it away. So then you just had to get used to the idea that if you rested a guy, he didn't fully go back to that maximum. But now it's more clear that it's there. So with the bullpen specifically, you got to factor that in. So if you've got it 70-30 and the one guy is racking up CFAT, that's on you that you've decided to lean on them, and you're gonna have to factor that in. But
Just makes the game a little more transparent. And for new people, like they had to figure that out on their own. Like it was a weird, like hidden thing that seemed unnecessary. But like we said last week, even for the people that have been playing a long time, it's just nice to see it there. It helps you plan around it during a long season. So I think it's just a better, more player-friendly thing to be transparent.
let me go back through the things we already talked about. So that displayed more clearly the numbers back on the manager settings with the fatigue. So when your pitcher is at 40, like when to take them out, instead of taking them out at tired, you start taking them out at 50%, like very clear. It's not a vague number. And your pitcher doesn't show on the lineup pages, it'll show he's at 49% or 42% or whatever it is.
Yep.
Instead of, yeah. And the big number to remember is at 50% is when you start to see a decline in their ratings. Um, so putting that back, putting the other back. What else did we have? Oh, showing it as a percentage. We used to show fatigue percentage. We're changing it to stamina, just to make it clear. And so a fully rested pitcher will show 100% stamina instead of showing 50 over 50 or whatever it is.
Yep.
Um, So that's all to make no changes to the rules there, but it's all to make it a little more clear for people. We might have covered all those last week.
Yep.
The other ones, what else we got? Man, there's so many.
Go for it.
The
Rattle them off.
tiny one that some people might like. We changed it so that users can move guys to low minors directly. If for some reason a guy that's never played in the game got out of your low minors, I feel like a lot of times you take over somebody else's team that did it, but if for whatever reason the guy got out of low minors, you want to put him back down there to try to get a bonus, you could do it yourself instead of having to ask somebody. Back in the day, you remember we used to do trade backs where you'd have to find
Yeah.
somebody in the
I
league and
forgot
ask them.
about trade backs.
Yeah. So instead of having to ask somebody to do it for you, you can do it yourself. And again, they have to have played in 0 games to be able to get put back in low minors. So.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to do that. They if they have not played a single inning, seen a single pitch, there's no reason that you shouldn't let people just put them back in the low minors. It seemed like a little too controlling.
There
And
used to be some reasons, and almost all of
that
them have gone
yes,
away.
yes, it was based around back in the day for those youngins out there that haven't played a long time. It used to be tied to like scouting numbers and
Yeah.
even morale numbers for those of you that have been around
I
since back like in
forgot about
2005. Yep.
I forgot
So
about that. Yep.
morale,
Mac
you'd
and
see
I
the
had
little sad face and the guy
yeah,
would leave you. Yep.
Mac and I had a conversation this week where I was asking him like, I think we're gonna make this change. Like, tell me how people are gonna exploit it. And he and I went through it, and I didn't see any good reason to not do this, but I did tell him like we'll keep an eye on it. So
Yeah.
if one of you figure out a way to exploit this that makes the game
Tell
unfun.
us, don't exploit it because we're watching.
Yes, we're gonna watch, but so if anybody figures out a way that this is gonna make this unfair for people, you let me know. But otherwise,
I don't think I think it's fine.
even the most exploitative attempts seem like not much benefit.
No.
Uh,
What else? There's a few more.
uh, we did a bunch of changes to the user records, which I still love the user records. I look at mine. Sometimes I'm looking at other people's, but for a long time we've had the problem because as soon as we put that out, we also we
Bunch
made
of
leagues
different
more
leagues.
flexible.
Yeah.
So there's 24 team leagues, there's 8 team leagues, there's leagues that have 3 rounds of playoffs, there's leagues that have 2 rounds of playoffs. So the records were based on the traditional 24 team leagues, 3 round of playoffs. So you might be one of the people that's contacted me in the last 2 years that said, "Why did you jerks not
Some people's
count
favorite
my
leagues didn't
World
have any
Series ring?"
records. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so we adapted that finally. So you're going to see changes on that page to make the stats make sense for all leagues, make sure that all the World Series rings are counted. I think that's good. There's a couple more stats in there, which might have slipped past you earlier. We added the number one overall, so that's the like regular season champ. People have always talked about like why don't we honor that, and this is a little place to do that. Especially
I guess I didn't think about it like that. Oh,
yeah,
all
people
right.
that
That's
get
fine.
bounced from the playoffs and then they're like, why didn't I get anything for being the regular season champ? Well, at least it's going to show up in here. It's not going to be forgotten. Um,
All right.
and then I asked for one that you didn't pay attention to that I'm
You're doing a lot of
fascinated on.
pointing at me. Why so
Well, I
aggressive
don't
and
know.
after
I
me?
don't know. I don't know. Lifetime run differential.
I saw it.
What do you think it's going to be? What do you think yours? I want to know what mine is. I want to know what yours is. Are you above or below 500?
I don't know. When
I mean,
I
are you
first
below
saw that, my
below
my
zero?
first thought was like all these screw around leagues I've been in over the years.
Oh, that's
They're
when you
gonna come
started
back to
wondering
haunt
how I
me.
could have.
Yes, that's why I asked if like I could pull out certain teams because there was like a 2 year period where I was like I gotta learn how to play this game, and
Yeah.
so I got into all these F around leagues where I was just trying all sorts of random stuff in Greek leagues. And I was like, oh, they're all gonna come back to haunt me in this run differential.
Uh,
But
I've
we'll
got a lot
see.
of
We'll
I've got
see.
a lot of things to say about that.
We'll see.
Because for the longest time, and I should go back to that. I was a one league guy, a one team guy, because that's all I could focus on.
Yep.
The longest time, the user records was why, because I knew that I had great records from that and I didn't want to start watering them down.
Yep.
But I let you guys talk me into being in all these other leagues, and I finally let it go and decided it's all for fun,
So it's
and
our fault.
I shouldn't be so militant about it. So
Yep.
now my records are not looking as good as they used to, even though they still look fine. They're not
Yep.
as good as Hardy's though, which is irritating. But I could go into the database and change it so that mine look better. Now, but I did have when we put this out, one of the first things that came out was when I had 10 teams that were named Zubaz's mom.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's right.
yeah, which
Oh, that's right. See, you had some F around leagues too. It's just you were effing around to talk trash.
I don't remember when that happened, but they showed up, and I did get rid of those. If anybody, we've
If you
had
find a
like
Zubaz mom out there, please change the name. My mom is a saint.
she is the same. Uh, if you have things in your user history that you can explain to me why it should be changed, contact me and we'll talk about it. Like Tony Remke talked to me a week or two ago. Did you see that one? That one was funny.
No.
He had owned a team in one of the Star Wars leagues for years, and I mean, I'm just gonna be he was a Star Wars dork on one thing. Somebody renamed the team when they took over, so that it made it look like he had his team named after this other thing, and it bothered him. And I wanted him to give me all of the Star Wars lore of why it bothered him, but no. But I was able to change that pretty easily, and that one made total sense. So
Yeah. So,
um,
anyways, lots of changes to the user records and better, more complete records.
more complete records, yeah.
Yeah.
So that should be good.
And
What else?
speaking of user records, there's a bunch of new stuff coming for the contest records
Yes.
too.
We already had the user records out, but we were talking about so the user records, if you guys haven't looked, we put out
The user records are awesome.
if you click on somebody's name in the contest, you get like their personal achievement page pretty much, which if that's something that I've wanted for the game forever. And it's kind of the prototype for the entire game to be able to, because we're stats related people and to get your little hit from seeing all these things you've accomplished. So CBT made an awesome thing for your personal achievements and records in the contests. You should check that out. But then we also added team stats, and then we're updating that this week too. So there'll be more, which is adding along with the regular team stats everybody's used to, having like the salary breakdown for the teams and the win-loss record, everything else. So uh, that's something that you never have in other leagues
Yeah.
between pitchers and batters and stuff.
Yeah. And again, it kind of, oh, did I lose you? I can't hear you. You're muted or something. Like I literally can't hear you. Uh-oh. That's not good.
You
Uh,
sound
oh, you're
fine.
back. You're back. You're back.
Sounded fine the entire time. Anyway,
You're
keep
back. But la la la. What was I gonna say?
team stats, seeing weird things in there that you
Oh,
might.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, it's a good example of another thing that you're seeing in contests that might hopefully look like what the rest of the site will eventually look like. We're trying to build out some of these pages to eventually, start to usurp some of the older classic ASP pages that are on the regular Dynasty game.
I'm not sure that usurp is the correct technical
Usurp,
term.
take over, right? Isn't that
No, it's
usurp?
good. So there's a ton, and I hope everybody will look at it and talk to me about it and everything else. And what else? Contest news this week. Put it there at the end. Uh, you and I were on the call this morning, and we got to see whether we made it or not. We both made the finals. I was very excited. You suggested that I finally went too far and made the contest too hard, and I might be willing to concede your point. The my goal has been to have 50% be the cutoff point, but it was well below 50% this week. So
500. I don't know if,
500,
yeah.
500 win percentage,
Be the cutoff. Yeah.
and I I kept pushing until finally the computer took over. So it was tough. At some point, WFN was the only guy with a run differential
Yeah, yeah.
above
I've been predicting bloodbaths week after week, but I think the last 2 weeks
1.
have proven you've fully bloodbath
Okay,
the
I finally I needed to keep pushing the limit. There's a lag now because I'm putting these out on Tuesday, so I have to make my. It used to be that I could make changes the next week after I see the results, but I don't have the ability to wait a week to see what things. So it takes me like 2 weeks to really catch up. So, um, but this week anyway, I had said I had already planned to go the opposite direction. So. It was $45 million salary cap this week, 75 million next week. Biggest one that we've had. Um, I
by a
had
lot.
said,
It'll be fun.
yeah, I'm very interested. I had said I was skeptical, and then the more I dug into it, the more I'm totally interested. I changed the player pool a little bit to make sure it was ready for it. The opponents will still be bastards because I can't be totally nice to people, but you should be able to pick from. I mean, you're used to it in some of the redraft leagues. You should be able to pick from some massive guys.
Is there more players as well? More choices?
There's more
Yeah,
top-notch guys, definitely. There's a little bit more players overall, and there's more top-notch guys. So
yeah.
that was
Well,
what
we'll see what happens.
I added those because I want it. I still believe that a good game format you requires you to make choices. So then I decided in this one it meant having so many good guys that you had to choose a few that you couldn't pick.
Well,
Um,
I mean, ultimately, I still think this game is not one up the middle. It's one on the edges. It's one on good choices for a proper lineup assembly, full team builds, making sure that your stadium matches your players, like all of those things. Like I still think that even with a lot of good guys, that the same skill is still required to do well. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
no, I believe it. I have said I'm not just blowing smoke, but you have been really good at these, and you've done it with teams that are very varied, and I think you have something figured out. I've been doing better recently, but not as consistently as you. But yeah, I keep checking, and you're not doing the same thing every week, which is
Mm-mm.
nice.
Definitely
But I
not
know
doing the
it's
same thing.
hard for some people. Maybe this is the week you break. Maybe all you needed was some extra money, and this is the week you break through. But I could say, like, I'm going to keep my personal desire is for as many different people as we can have to be able to do good at these. I don't want there to be a cabal at the top that rules it all. So, uh, I mean, you're trying hard. You're thinking about it. You're doing good. You're not cheating, even though somebody may want to say you're cheating. I know
Nobody's accused me of it. But
if
I
you
think they
want,
know that
they were playing around with it this weekend, but
they
I
know I
understand that
can't. If
even if you wanted to cheat, you wouldn't know where to look.
yeah, I have never even seen the game code like the
Yeah,
sim engine. If Hardy was doing this well, I think we could all raise an eyebrow. But I think everybody knows me well enough to know that I have not even set foot.
yeah,
I don't even do a spreadsheet.
yeah,
I,
because you don't know how.
I don't know how.
But yeah.
I don't
So
even know how. I literally don't even know how people export like draft lists into a spreadsheet. That still like boggles me. I'm like, do they cut and paste it in there? I have no idea.
we could have a whole different podcast on that one.
I have no idea.
But I'm just saying to the people out there, if you have not done well, we've said it before. If you haven't done well, it could be bad luck and it might take some learning, but also you talk to me about it because I've made changes and I love this stuff. I love making changes and to me, good game design would mean people having to play different ways each week and different people being able to win. So we're just going to keep pounding it out. See.
Uh, Make this week your Montreal Expos 1994 moment. And if
What?
I'll promise you this, if there is someone that is about to win that comes out of nowhere, we're going to go on strike and shut down the game, just like Major League Baseball did so intelligently back in 1994.
We're not going to do that.
Oh, we're not going to do it. Never mind.
We're not going to do that. But yeah, we're this is the halfway point in the circuit. Uh, this has all been an experiment, and I think it's a lot of fun. But I understand some people might feel like they're like way behind and they can't catch up. Whatever. That's part of why I made the rules that if you win one week, you
You're
make it
in.
to the semis. So I hope you'll keep trying. But I understand if it might
Well,
get
even if you're not feeling it, you need to play right now so that you're ready for the next season.
and it's
Yeah,
just fun.
just get good at it. Just
It's
have fun.
fun to see if you made it
Just
and
go
figure
for it.
and go through the drama. And we've had a lot of fun and we're learning and we've talked about it a couple times. We've got a couple of gameplay changes. I mean, the it's coming from the contest. We've got the fatigue settings are partly because of some of the clarity that came from looking at contests, but we're going to be trying out some different stuff with pitcher fatigue and other things that we're going to be piloting in the contests that are going to go to the regular game, and that's a reason to keep up.
That's
So
right.
we're listening. We're listening to you guys.
All right, we're gonna leave it there. This is your Washington Nationals moment because they won a title that probably the Expos should have had. And this is your week. So until next week, we'll talk about it. We'll see how this release goes and see what your feedback is. We'll talk about it next week. But that was this week. Until next week, that was this week. Week.